It was a cold and grey Monday morning in London. The rain tapped gently against the window pane of a small flat in Brixton, where 24-year-old Ella sat curled up on her couch. Her job interview from last week had ended in rejection. Her long-term relationship had just ended. And worst of all, she had received a letter saying her rent would be increasing next month. Everything around her seemed to be falling apart. For a few hours, she let the sadness take over. But as the clouds darkened outside, something inside Ella whispered, "This isn't the end. It's the beginning." She got up, made a cup of tea, and opened the journal her late grandmother had given her. On the first page, in her grandmother's neat handwriting, were the words, "In every storm, look for the rainbow. Choose to be the light." That sentence sparked something in Ella. She decided that even though she couldn't control the world around her, she could control how she reacted to it. Instead of feeling defeated, she chose to believe that rejection was redirection. She told herself, "If that job wasn't mine, something better is coming." She applied for 3 more jobs that day, ones she wouldn't have dared to consider before. Instead of drowning in heartbreak, she reminded herself, "I deserve someone who sees my worth. This pain is part of my growth." She joined a local yoga class not just for fitness, but to reconnect with herself. Instead of panicking about the rent, she sat down and wrote out a financial plan. She listed small freelancing jobs she could do and reached out to an old university friend who needed a part-time assistant. Within a week, she had secured enough income to cover the increase. Weeks passed, then a month. One afternoon, Ella received a call from a media company she had applied to. The position was hers. It came with a higher salary, flexible hours, and a team that valued creativity. That same week, a woman from her yoga class named Priya invited her to a local women's empowerment group. Ella accepted, and that simple yes opened up friendships, mentorship, and a sense of community she had never imagined. Looking back months later, Ella stood at the same window, the same rain falling, but her heart was lighter. She had learned a lesson that would stay with her forever. Positivity is not pretending everything is okay. It's choosing hope when things aren't. Believing in yourself isn't arrogance. It's survival. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was thriving. It had been 6 months since Ella's life took a difficult turn. Now, with a new job, a circle of supportive women around her, and a growing sense of confidence, Ella had transformed her pain into purpose. But life still had its tests. One morning, just before an important presentation at her media company, Ella received a call from her younger brother, Joss. Their father had been admitted to hospital after collapsing at home. The diagnosis wasn't good. Early-stage heart disease. The old Ella might have panicked. She might have asked, "Why me? Why now?" But this version of Ella closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and said softly, "Okay, one step at a time." She delivered her presentation, then booked the next train to Manchester, where her father lived. During the journey, she replayed the moments of her life, the sadness, the growth, the strength she'd built from all those trials. And now, she knew she was ready to be strong not just for herself, but for her family too. At the hospital, she held her father's hand. He smiled weakly and said, "You've grown up into someone I admire, Ella. You're brave." Ella smiled. "I'm just doing what you always told me to. Believe in myself." That night, sitting beside her father's bed, Ella opened her journal and wrote, "Being positive doesn't mean ignoring pain. It means facing it with courage, believing that every challenge carries a lesson, and trusting that I am enough to get through it." Weeks later, her father's health began to improve, and Ella began volunteering at her local community center on weekends. She shared her story with young women who felt lost, just like she once had. She spoke at events about resilience, mindset, and the power of positivity. One day, a girl named Tara, just 18 and overwhelmed by life, approached her and said, "You made me feel like I'm not broken, like I can still make something of myself." Ella smiled. "You're not broken. You're just becoming. And becoming isn't easy, but it's beautiful." That's when Ella realized her journey wasn't just about surviving her own struggles. It was about becoming a light for others still stuck in the dark. Because true positivity isn't pretending life is perfect. It's knowing that no matter how dark the tunnel is, the light is inside you. Always.